in
these
prison
people. Tell
as
that
of
to the survivors of the
2021.
young lady killed in
I'm just
Georgia.
giving the numbers.
Well, what do you tell the parents of those people,
What do you
those
tell the
young girls
parents?
who were killed?
Simone?
This is an absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
That's sweet.
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Bruh. Put on your daggone. Y'all see who wear the pants on this show, right?
I saw a good bit of it, and I would say, hey, if somebody was asking me about what terms I would use, I would just say, you know what, I'm sorry, I meant to say criminal invader.
Joining us now, one of the architects of Project 2025, the president of the Heritage Foundation, Dr. Kevin Roberts. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Roberts. Thank you for joining us and coming. I know people are like, y'all got the architect of the 2025? Yes, because everyone has been talking about it. And we saw an interview that you did with the Associated Press, and we've been reading through some things. And I think we just want to first start with anchoring this conversation in.
And just so you know, Project 2025 is what they're using right now all over TikTok, all over Instagram, all over Facebook, all over YouTube to try to scare Democrats into not voting, to voting against Republicans, specifically voting against Trump, because they believe that he is trying to become a dictator, that he is trying to force people to operate under the guise of Christianity. That's what this is. All right. So when they're having this conversation, keep that in mind. But Michael Steele and Simone, they're going to get tore up from the beginning. I want y'all to see this, man.
And you told the New York Times that this plan is a plan that is for anyone. It's not just for Donald Trump. You would like if President Biden would implement some of it, but you don't think that that's going to happen. And so you reject the assertion that this is a plan that was cooked up specifically for the second coming of the Trump administration.
I appreciate that question because as your lobby shows when you walk in, you've got the word honesty and the word accuracy there. That's an honest and accurate depiction, and I'm grateful. Number one, the Heritage Foundation couldn't do that because we are nonpartisan. We can't be tied to one candidate. Secondly, we have offered a briefing of Project 2025 dating back to last year to every candidate for presidency, including President Biden. Honest to goodness, I would have been thrilled if President Biden and his team asked for a briefing. We understand that we have differences of opinion on just about everything. But at Heritage, we believe in telling the truth with a smile on our face. But the last point I should make is that now that President Trump is the nominee, and President Biden has not taken a Project 2025 briefing, President Trump is going to make decisions about policy in his administration if he wins. Project 2025 is something that's going to transcend the next 4 years, the next 10 years. It really is, for the first time in the history of the conservative movement, the apparatus for policy and personnel. That's the most important thing to remember.
I have one follow-up. It's just that you have said that this plan is about institutionalizing Trumpism. So, because I also know you all, not just the president of the Heritage Foundation, you're also president of the Heritage Action, which is the political action committee. And so is it tied to Trump or not?
I said the context for that comment to the New York Times was that the work of the Heritage Foundation was to institutionalize Trumpism. Trumpism as a new version of conservatism, a conservatism that recognizes that by every objective measure, the United States is weaker in 2024 than it was in 1984. We also happen to think that's reversible, by the way. We're ultimately optimists. And by institutionalizing Trumpism, what we're saying is that even though we are known as Ronald Reagan's think tank, I'm a son of the Reagan Revolution, I'm very proud of that, that's 40 years ago. And we need to understand what time it is in America. And right now, Donald Trump, whether someone likes it or not, I happen to like it, is the standard bearer for conservatism.
Well, Michael, what time is it?
I don't think it's time for Trumpism in that regard, because one of the things that as a lifelong...
Now, I know some of you have great respect for Michael Steele, but this brother is a straight up and down puppet.
Follower and participant in Heritage, having spoken at various times there in the roles that I've played in the party, I see this as a dramatic shift away from those Reagan-esque principles when you have someone like Trump who has advocated some of the things he has. But before we get to that, I want to get to the nub of this, because you can't really do anything until you remove what has been identified as the problem, and that is 50,000 federal employees. Axios noted, quote, the massive headhunting quest aims to recruit 20,000 people to serve in the next administration as a down payment on 4,000 presidential appointments plus potential replacements for as many as 50,000 federal workers who are policy adjacent, as Trumpers put it. Policy adjacent to what? I mean, you're talking about people who've been in federal government. My daddy was a federal government employee, so I would be really appalled thinking that he could be on someone's chopping block because they think he is part of some deep state effort. Talk to us about what that looks like. If Heritage is calling for removing 50,000 federal employees, who are you replacing them with? And where do they come from? I mean, even if it's not 50,000, if it's 10,000, if it's 2,000, where are they coming from, and who are you replacing them with? Because I suspect a lot of those people you're talking about have been in the federal service for a long time and have served not just Republican administrations, but also Democratic administrations, et cetera.
They have, and 95% of them who give political contributions give them to the Democratic Party. I reject out of hand, Michael, that somehow
you're going to fire someone because they wrote a check to a Democratic candidate.
No, we're going to fire someone, and the number needs to be more than 50,000, considering that there are more than 2 million federal employees. Because over the last century, the radical left has seen the administrative state as the fourth branch of government. They're unelected bureaucrats. Nothing against your dad, obviously, as a human being. You know that about me and Heritage. But ultimately, we have to devolve power from the imperial city of Washington back to the people.
Because he wrote a check to a Democratic candidate without any appreciation or understanding where his political allegiance.
We will dramatically reform agencies that take rights away from people.
Why does that matter?
They're doing their job about a mission that's misaligned. For example, the U.S. Department of Education. Thankfully, President Trump deserves credit for saying that he wants to end the Department of Education. That means that employees in that agency, even if they've been serving that mission with great competence, will have to go look for another job. What's more important than that, Michael, is that we actually have a delivery mechanism for education in this country that reflects the 21st century. So at Heritage, we see this a very different way. You want to look at it from the lens of unelected bureaucrats, most of whom, not your dad, I guess, who want to say that they are more important than the everyday American. We want to look at it from the standpoint of the everyday American and say it's time that they are put in the driver's seat rather than unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah, but they aren't going to be in the driver's seat because they aren't going to be doing the jobs. The folks you're identifying who are Trump aligned are the ones who are going to be coming in.
You are positing that those people are incompetent. And I can tell you from looking at the resumes of the 11,000 that they're very well qualified.
As much as you're thinking I'm positing these people are incompetent, you're positing that they're somehow executing a nefarious agenda.
Some of them are. Why does the Environmental Protection Agency have 350
Have you identified them?
If I could interject, because I did.
Now, something I love when people go into MSNBC and they cook them. We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach. Michael Steele is missing that because he wants to argue that 50,000 people are losing their jobs all because Trump want to put 20,000 people in office that represent him. And that's not what he's saying. So at some point, they need to start listening. Whenever you're having a conversation with someone, debate or other, please take the moment, just take a breather, man. Just relax, fall back, listen to what they're saying, and then respond. Or listen to what they're saying. If you don't understand what they're saying, do some research before you respond. Say, I'll get back to you. But at this moment, Michael Steele just wants to argue that those 50,000 people are about to be replaced by 20,000 Trump loyalists. And that's not what he's saying at all.
Did actually work for the federal government. I worked with a number, as did the chairman, and I worked with a number of those we call them civil servants in the United States government, people who are not political appointees, and they have the institutional knowledge.
If only they acted that way.
Well, I think Alicia has a question along those lines about one of the policy priorities that you all have identified in Project 2025.
I actually, Dr. Roberts, have a question about this upcoming election. Is your organization going to accept the results of the 2024 presidential election?
I believe that Dr. Roberts can't hear. So
why do they keep asking that dumb question? Will Trump accept if he loses this time, even if we cheated, like, forget about us cheating. I don't care, but stop saying we cheated. Even if we did, if we get caught, it don't matter. Will he accept that he lost when we cheated? Who's going to accept that?
Alicia just asked, is your organization going to accept the results of the 2024 election, regardless of the outcome?
Yes, if there isn't massive fraud like there was in 2020.
What does that mean?
If y'all don't cheat, he just said the same thing. If there isn't massive fraud, yes, we will accept it. What's the problem with these people?
If there isn't massive fraud.
Do you believe that there was not massive fraud?
There was massive fraud. We have an election fraud database that has documented that over years. By the way, the Heritage Foundation has been concerned about election integrity for decades, not just about 2020. We've been documenting this problem for a very long time. And if one of the
I believe, according to the Heritage Foundation, sir, by your count, Heritage Foundation has done an investigation, and according to your count, there have been 1,513 proven instances of voter fraud across the United States since 1982.
Yeah, that's probably
1,513.
Because they're very hard to document.
This came by way of a super chat that I received from Steve Johnson. This right here. He just asked me, have you heard of the Cloward, I don't know if I'm saying it right, the Cloward Piven strategy? If not, please do a vid on it. You got to see this. Oh, I definitely am. And thank you so much for pointing that out. See, that's what makes us. See, that right there is what it's all about. You put me up on game, I appreciate it, and I will check it out. See, y'all are dope, man.
Proven instances of voter fraud across the United States since 1982.
Yeah, that's probably
1,513.
Because they're very hard to document, and the Democrat Party is very good at fraud. The key thing here, which I think we would both agree on, is that we aspire at the Heritage Foundation to seeing a poll after this election where every American believes their vote was counted. I care as deeply about someone on the political left with whom I disagree saying that they have confidence in the outcome of the election. It seems, rather than turn this into a partisan conversation, which you do a good job of at MSNBC, we might say we aspire to something more noble, which is that every American believes their vote counts.
I mean, I don't think it's partisan to ask if you will accept the results of the election. Alicia, I don't know if can you hear Alicia now?
Yeah,
Alicia, do you have another question?
I can hear. I do have another question. I'm specifically interested as it relates, Dr. Roberts, to the deportation of immigrants in this country, just understanding sort of how it is going to work. When we talk about folks on the interior, how you see a future administration utilizing the National Guard, ICE, police forces to deport something like 11 million people.
Could you hear her? Yeah. So she is asking about immigration and how you see immigration, how in this plan, how you talk about using like the National Guard to deport individuals. Like, what is the, Alicia, and do tell me if I am adequately
people on the interior
summarizing.
Specifically.
People
not
on
the
interior specifically, not people in the border, people within this country.
Well, first of all, we need to close the border. And secondly, we need to have the biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America, because it is unjust and illegal and evil that more than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country. It's imperative that we send those people back, invite them back to come through the legal system. We love immigrants at Heritage, but we also love the rule of law.
Any other questions? Any other question? I vote for a sliding board. Okay, a sliding board that leads directly to their country where they came. Well, boom. This one goes to Mexico. This one goes to this country. This one goes a sliding board, right? And it's at least it's fun. Like they get they got the gift bags that we already packed for them. They got the extra draws and T-shirts and toothpaste and the little credit cards that we gave them. We can give them a little welcome to New York T-shirts and welcome to California T-shirts or welcome to DC. Put some T-shirts on them that got the little monument on it and have them all festive and everything. Give them a little American flag that they can wave around while they're sliding their tails on that sliding board back to the country that they came from. That's what I say. If you're not going to do it the right way, hey, slide your ass back where you came from. That's what I say.
So how do you plan to carry that out?
Well,
Are you talking about going door to door? Because that's what I could read from the plan, but I think
the first thing is that there's going to be a lot of self-deportation. The interesting thing, as you no doubt know, is that simply talking about this and beginning to implement a plan, and President Trump deserves a lot of credit for talking about this, causes people to say, I don't want to run the risk of being arrested for doing something illegal. But secondly, there are great plans using the Department of Homeland Security to return these people back to south of the border. The great thing is, even a majority of people on the political left agree with this because they see the damage that this has done.
Well, before we go,
I think we want to take a couple more minutes, and so I know we're being told to wrap, but we want to take a few more minutes.
I'll stay as long as you want.
No. Just ask you real quick. So what do these people do? What are they doing now?
Which people?
The folks, the 11 million, 20 million, whatever you want to deport.
A lot of them are committing crimes like murdering the 12-year-old girl in Houston. In fact,
so that's
we're very
one. That's
concerned about
one
that.
out of 11 million. What is the?
We can take the remaining time of the segment, and I can give you a lot of examples.
In Texas,
of this.
undocumented immigrants were 37.1% less likely to be convicted of a crime. Undocumented immigrants, and according to a survey, University of California Riverside study, 33% less likely to be in prison as of 2021. I'm just giving the numbers.
Nah, don't just give the numbers. You're not going to just give the numbers if somebody is talking about how Black America is being ruined or being torn apart by our own people. Then you're talking about, okay, they keep on shooting each other. Well, 95% of us we pay attention to the law, and we make sure that we don't commit any crimes, and we actually go to church, and we love our families, and you're not going to do that. But when we're taking up for these illegal immigrants, oh man, we want to definitely go into our bag. The studies show that 37.5% of them are law-abiding illegal citizens, and this, that, and the other. Come on now. Why are we caping for people who don't even pay taxes, who are going around the wrong way to get here and have been paid to come here and paid to stay here so that they can be potential voters for whoever wants to be in power? And I'm believing that's the Democrats. They want to stay in power, so they're bringing over new voters. We need new voters. We need new voters because the other people aren't voting for us anymore. I mean, come on now. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it at all.
Less likely to be in prison as of 2021.
The young lady killed in
I'm just giving the numbers.
Well, what do you tell the parents of those people,
what do you
those
tell
young
the parents
girls who were killed?
Mo?
This is absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Bruh. Put on your daggone. Y'all see who wear the pants on this show, right? This Michael Steele can't even say illegal immigrants. He's asking him a question. He's being respectful. He got a suit on. He shaved his hair for this morning's show. And he can't even speak how he wants to speak. He didn't curse. Listen to this. He asked a question and got G-checked right there by Simone. Oh, we don't use that term. We don't say that here. We don't use the term illegal immigrants. And he corrected it immediately. What type of man are you, man?
The preponderance of these people,
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented individuals versus.
You see how he did that? Shout out to the dude from Heritage Foundation. Did you hear how he checked them? Hold on, I gotta hear. He said, "That's sweet. They're illegal aliens." What do you want to say? I'm sorry, we don't use the term. We use undocumented immigrants. That's what we use. Undocumented. All right. They ain't got their documents yet. All right. They are legal. I mean, they are technically illegal, but we just don't call them that because it sounds nasty and ooey. Ain't that the same reason why they don't like Trump? Like, they don't look at the fact that he got a lot of good going on. They just look at the fact that he's mean and he don't smile at us and he never gave me a hug. We don't use the term illegal immigrants around here. We use undocumented. What that guy said was exactly what you're supposed to say. He was like, oh, that's cute because they are illegal immigrants. Come on, bruh. Hold on. I'm sorry for continuing to play this over and over, but come on, listen to this. Michael Steele, you got on pants, bruh. Do you wear the pants on the show or what? This dude has been G-checked for saying exactly what he's supposed to say.
People, those young girls who were killed. This is
I mean,
absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented.
He said, that's sweet. They're illegal aliens. What you want me to say? One more time, guys. Just listen. After I do it one more time, I'm not going to do it anymore. I promise you. It's just this is it. This is it. Because I think Michael Steele, you a sucker for not holding you saying exactly what they are, bro. They're illegal immigrants. You're not cursing at them. You're not saying anything demonstrative or anything. You're not being disrespectful. You're saying exactly what it is. You're saying exactly what they are. You're not calling them no rat-faced bastards or nothing like that. You're not doing that. Right? What am I missing? All right, one more time for the people in the
parents
back.
Of those people, those young girls who were killed. This is
absurdity.
The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented individuals versus
undocumented individuals. I'm sorry, Simone. I'm sorry, Simone. Undocumented immigrants. I mean, individuals. Can we say immigrants? No, immigrants. I can't say that. I'll just say individuals. Because we're all immigrants, apparently, and we don't want to call them illegal simply because they came here illegally. Okay.
Anyone else who commits the same crime. Well, I mean, so what you're saying is because you have this instance of individuals behaving badly, that's a reflection of every individual in that community, and that's just not the case.
No, what is the case is that because the preponderance.
I mean, what percentage of those people, the 11 million that you want to
answer your question.
I just want to clarify my question. Okay. That's what I'm trying to do. What percentage of those individuals that you want to get rid of, move out of the country, actually commit crimes?
Our analysis in Texas, Georgia, and New York shows that a preponderance of the illegals who have come in.
I don't know what's that number.
Let him answer, bruh. He don't want to let him answer. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I just want listen. Who on this panel do you believe is for the people of this country, and who do you think on this panel are for other people in other countries? First, we're talking about first, all right? Because we love everybody, but at the end of the day, rules is rules, right? If we got to follow them, shouldn't others? No? Okay, so they ain't got to follow rules? Because we've seen them commit crimes and get locked up and get out of jail immediately. Still didn't get sent back anywhere. They just just put them back on the street. It just is what it is. Whatever. It's crazy, bro.
Unattached male, and there are unattached males, and the disproportionate number of them are people who are not even making any attempt to be legal.
But what is that number?
Obviously,
are you
a large
talking
number
10
of them
out
have
of
committed.
1,000, or are you talking? I'm just trying to get.
Bruh, it can be 5 out of 1 million. If it's happening, it's happening. And it's happening because of Biden and his administration allowing anybody to come here who cannot be tracked. We don't know their history, and they're doing things to actual American citizens. And you're going to sit here and try to cape for them? Try to figure out exactly. So you mean to tell me out of all 11 million, only 5 American citizens were murdered? Come on, bro. That's such a small number. That's such a small number for us to harp over that. Like, come on. We really want to talk about this? Are you kidding me? Whose side are you on, Mike? Okay.
I just would say, and if Alicia were sitting here and you could hear her, she would say that you are weaponizing a horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden is doing is weaponizing the entire government.
Before we let you go, Dr.
Oh, no, Simone. Nah, Simone, that's trash. She makes a statement saying that, well, the way we see it is you're smearing an entire group of individuals just to talk about a small few of them being evil, right? And he answers, he was like, nah, it's this administration that did that. And then she cuts him off before we let you go. Come on, bruh. What type of unprofessional crap is this that we're witnessing, man? All because y'all are being bullied on your own daggone show. Whenever you see this happening, you know that somebody has lost the fight. This is no different from having a conversation with someone, and then the person you're having a conversation with starts to call you names. What does that mean? That means they are losing the debate. That means they have nothing else of substance to say. That's what that means. And that's exactly what we're seeing on this show. They bring this guy here, it's 2 against 1. As a matter of fact, it's 3 against 1. I guess the lady who is the most professional of them, who keep on sending questions to him through their ear that he can't hear directly, it's just not enough for them. And now you gotta interrupt him and rush him off your show now because he's making y'all look like dummies. He's making you look like fools. All because you want to cape for people that don't even pay taxes, that are actually destroying the country right now. And it's because of what? It's because of Joe Biden. That's why. All right. And he ain't got the power to do anything. It's Congress and it's this and it's that. It's his administration. Right? All of this is happening on his clock, on his watch.
A horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden is doing is weaponizing the entire government.
Before we let you go, Dr. Roberts, I do want to ask you about abortion because it is an issue that is at the top of mind for folks all over this country right now, waiting on a case from the Supreme Court, EMTALA. In Louisiana, in places all over this country, abortion care is unavailable to people that may need it. You in the organization in this plan talks about changing the Department of Health and Human Services to the Department of Life. Do you think that women in America should be able to get an abortion if that is what their doctor says they need?
Abortion's not health care. I find it really interesting, if not worse, that you wouldn't support the change of the department name to the Department of Life. I thought we were all in support of life. We believe eminently in women's rights, and particularly women's rights in the womb. And so the real question that you should be asking
I just want to know, if I may, though, because I do ask the questions here.
Why aren't we talking about the people who are supporting legislation that abortion can happen until 3 days after the person's born? This is an absurd framing by this network.
That is an absurd assertion. As a person with an actual womb, I'm telling you that does not happen.
So
but let me just back up.
It's bad taste to bring someone on your show and not even allow them to speak. Like when you asked him a question, allow this man to speak. Like he's done nothing but answer your questions the entire time. You could do nothing about it. Now what you want to do is play the sex card and say, I'm the one with the womb. My opinion is the only opinion that matters and counts right now. And I need for you to answer this question exactly the way that I want you to answer this question. And if you do not, then I'm going to shut you up. That's trash, man.
So
in California, Virginia, New York, who
Dr. Roberts,
filed those bills.
Does Heritage and Project 2025 believe that a woman should be able to have an abortion if her doctor says that she needs one? It's a yes or no question.
Abortion is not health care.
So
abortion
that is
is
a
the
no?
murder of a human being.
All right. Well,
Boom. There you go.
Disagree thoroughly with Dr. Kevin Roberts, but I am so glad that you were here, and we are so disappointed.
River, how would you answer that question if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I would have answered it like him. I do not believe that that's healthcare. It's straight up infanticide. It's child murder, and there's no justification for it. I mean, outside of those very few small cases, like say you have unfortunately, like an underdeveloped child who's become pregnant, and the only result is that like the baby will grow too big for the child to be able to carry. Like in those type of extreme circumstances, there's no reason to let an innocent child pass away for that.
Right.
But I saw a good bit of it, and I would say, hey, if somebody was asking me about what terms I would use, I would just say, you know what? I'm sorry, I meant to say criminal invader.
Hold on, whoa. Are you talking about the illegals? You call them criminal invaders?
Yes, yeah. I mean, because that's probably a good way to get around it on YouTube too.
You're right. Criminal invaders. And actually, I think
I
that
would
would
use
be a
that.
great like DC Comics movie or something like that. The Criminal Invaders.
Yes.
This is crazy, man.